Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reds Rundown podcast. This is by two lifelong Reds fans and journalists. I'm Rob, he's Joe, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Joe, it is Sunday evening once again. Basketball is nearing its end. Football draft stuff is on its way, and the Reds suck. How's your day going?
It's all right. You're right. It's one of the busiest sports times we have, just with college basketball and the draft coming up, and the Reds are, you know, also there as well as the other MLB teams. But it doesn't feel like the Reds are playing like an MLB team as of late. So here we are.
Oh boy, guys, yeah, we've got quite a discussion to have here. Today we're gonna just take a look at the games this past week. We'll look down at the Louisville Bats, see if there's any help on the way. We'll take a look at injury help as well. We fully expect that to be happening, and then we'll take a look at the Giants and the Pirates, two teams that are on very opposite ends of the standing spectrums, Joe. But we'll hop into this week. I'm gonna make it a quick one. The Reds started off after a disappointing opening series. The Reds put up 14 on the Rangers and Kumar Rocker, something you and I thought would happen potentially. Matt McLain with a big home run, Ellie with 2 home runs. He drove in 7, McLain drove in 3. Spencer Steer had his first hit of the season in this game as well. Pretty much everybody had a hit in this game other than CES, although he did get a walk. But the other big story of this game, Joe, was Brady Singer. 7 innings, 2 walks, 1 hit, 8 Ks in his Reds debut. Sam Moll and Brent Suter would struggle to get out of their innings, but they did after giving up 3 runs. But the Reds would win this game 14-3. Then would start what I would call one of the most miserable times of being a Reds fan that I can truly remember. The Reds would lose 1-0. A Wyatt Langford home run off of Carson Spires would be all that they would need. The Reds would muster a hit from McLain, Gavin Lux, Austin Wynns, and Jacob Hurtubise. But that was about it. Not for, the pitching was great. Carson Spires, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run on that home run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Scott Barlow, 1 hit, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Taylor Rogers, a walk and no strikeouts. Ian Jabot would, would figure his stuff out, had a great outing, 1 1/3 with a strikeout. Then, you wouldn't believe it, but the Reds would lose 1-0 again after an Ellie De La Cruz double would be the highlights hitting-wise. TJ Friedel would get in on the action, and Jake Fraley would as well. But the Reds could only muster 3 hits behind another great outing by Hunter Greene. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. Tony Santillan would come in. Great start to his season so far, Joe. 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and Emilio Pagan with 1 inning pitched as well. Joe, let's talk. We're going to break this down a little bit differently this time. Let's talk a little bit real quick about this Rangers series before we head into the sad Brewers series. I don't know how else to put it, but I will say the Rangers are playing well. I want to give them their flowers. They have started off the season red hot. They are 8-2 right now. They've had a great season so far. They've won close games, but this really felt like such a wasted opportunity for the Reds in this series. When you get Brady Singer, Carson Spires, and Hunter Greene to combine to give up 1 earned run, right? Is it 2? 2 earned runs. You would think that you're sweeping a series like that, but instead the Reds lose 2 of 3, and they actually had the better differential. The Reds' differential from this series would be 14-5. Pretty incredible, to say the least, Joe. I don't really know what else to say other than I don't know how you do this. And I guess I'll talk about the pitching at some point. I want to let you talk here, but I don't know, man. Like the Reds hitters, there's something wrong. But let's hop into it. Tell me what you got here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, certainly feels a lot like last year where we score all of our runs for a series in one game and then can't spread it out at all. And, some of that's natural. It's going to happen where you have games where you hit 10, 11 runs, but
Mm-hmm.
man, to get 0 and the other is not even 1 or 2 is kind of crazy. So that definitely has me kind of worried. And in this series, I think you got both the good and the bad too. You got you see what you got when Ellie and McLean are both on at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's that game where you score 14 runs, and everyone was on too. But
They carried.
that's definitely like what the future of this team has to be. But it also shows you when they slump, they're so important to this team that things don't go very well. We don't score any runs. And because we're not very deep and because we are having hitting issues based on everyone, it really makes you wonder about how good the talent is around them. And that's conversations we had last year, Rob, of like maybe some of their sophomore slumps are just who they are. And again, this is a big year for a lot of people to prove that they are good enough to be everyday starters or to get playing time at this level. And to be honest, there's a lot of people who aren't answering the bell right now. There's only a couple guys that you can really feel good about, hitting wise so far. Pitching was good in this series. I do have to say, some of it I think is a little bit approach. There's a lot of Cleveland fans taking victory laps saying Chris Vallejo was always a bad hitting coach, and like we were kind of glad he's gone. And I don't really think I saw that when he came over, but I'm seeing it now. So maybe it's a little bit of people being a little bit hurt about him leaving, but there is something to the approach too. Nathan Eovaldi had a Maddox against us, so that's when you throw a complete game with under 100 pitches. He's a good pitcher, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And then Jack Leiter also had a very good game against us as well. I'm starting to believe that what the problem was last year is also the problem with us this year, which is partially the approach, but anytime we go against a good pitcher, we seem outmatched. We score all those runs against Kumar Rocker, right? And then we get Eovaldi, and then we get Jack Leiter, who doesn't have the best career so far, but he had a lot of potential coming out of college and a big prospect, and he has a 0.9 ERA and 2 starts this year, which is awesome. It just seems like we're going to struggle against those good pitchers, and that's something they have to figure out here soon. And having someone like Ellie and McLean, when McLean is healthy, so we're going to get into his injury stuff here in a little bit, that should help you get away with like, hey, maybe this guy has to throw you more pitches. Maybe he doesn't have to get out of the game with under 100 pitches. Maybe you get some fluke hits. Maybe you get some guys like running out infield singles, and that's what we're gonna have to see. So that's what my feelings from the Rangers series was. They need to find a way to have more consistent offense, because when it's there, it's always great, but like a lot of times it isn't there. And then also, I really wish we aren't going to be like last year's team where we could not beat a good starting pitcher to save our life.
Yeah, I'm going to dive into my thoughts a little bit more on this series as well once we get to and through the Brewers series, because I think we saw a lot of the same things, and I have a lot of concern with the way we are being pitched and the way that our guys are going through it right now, and I think that this series exemplified that even more than the Brewers series did, so I'll dive into that. I want to give real quickly, though, again, the flowers to the Rangers and to the Giants, okay? These were our first 2 series. I understand that we contributed to 2 of these wins, but they are a combined 16-3. The Giants did just walk off the Mariners last that I saw. These teams are playing at a high level. They're actually some of the best teams in baseball right now. So if you want to look for, if you want to look for maybe some light at the end of the tunnel, is what I'm going to call it here, Joe. Especially in those series, you can take that away and understand that we'll talk about the Giants again here soon, but they are playing well, and it's not just against us. So take that as you will. We will go to the Brewers series, and would you believe it, Joe? 3 games in a row, the Reds would lose 1-0. Nick Lodolo. And I want to talk about him at some point, so if you can, remind me of this, because he goes 6 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, not earned, 4 Ks. Scott Barlow again comes in, finishes out that 7th inning, and then Graham Ashcraft, another guy we should probably talk about here shortly. 1 walk, 1 hit, got himself out of the jam, but the Reds could not muster anything. They got 2 hit. Jose Trevino and Jeimer Candelario would be the only ones that would do quite literally anything after this game as well. Matt McLean would show up on the injured list slightly, or with a tight hamstring. The Reds would finally get off a 31-inning schneid. I believe it was 31-inning schneid. In the 8th inning of this game, the Reds would lose to the Brewers 3-2, unfortunately. And Nick Martinez would give up 3 runs, 2 on a big home run to Bryce Terang. Unfortunately, he would not get through the 5th inning. He didn't pitch terribly, but didn't look great either. Taylor Rogers with a strikeout and a great inning. Brent Suter as well, and then Tony Santillan once again doing a great job. The fielding mistake that would hurt Nick Martinez quite a bit as well. Jamer Candelario's mistake. But the Reds would get an RBI off of Candy with a double there, but they would still only muster 5 hits, 2 from Santiago Espinal. Gavin Lux, the no-hitter / perfect gamer breaker with a hit himself, and TJ Friedl with a hit. We'd head into Saturday's game, though, Joe, and the Reds would find their offense. They would find a way to get to 3-6. 11-7, though, unfortunately, mostly off of a major Jake Fraley error that cost the Reds at least 2 more runs, potentially 3, depending on... He's got a good arm. You don't know if they were going to run for sure. But the Reds would explode for 14 hits, including 4 from TJ Friedl and 4 home runs. Blake Dunn with his first of the year, TJ Friedl with his first of the year, Encarnacion Strand with one of the longest home runs of the entire season. And Jose Trevino would also go 2 for 3 with his first home run of the year. Brady Singer would have some trouble, but he was able to kind of weave his way in and out of it. Some of it wasn't his fault. Again, that fielding error and the fielding in general was not great from the Reds in this game either. But he would still strike out 7, 9 hits, 5 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk. Scott Barlow would give up his first runs of the year as well. Taylor Rogers would pitch a great inning. Tony Santillan, 3 Ks and 1 1/3, and Emilio Pagan would come in and shut them down to end the game. Then we head into today's game, and it was a rough day for the Reds. Unfortunately, they got beat by Jackson Chourio, one of the better young players in baseball. The Reds would have some offense, but not much. Spencer Steer got his first home run of the year. Carson Spires would not get through the 4th inning. 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Sam Mola would not help his case. First pitch was a wild pitch that would bring in a run. Brent Suter came in and gave them 2 great innings. Ian Jabot on a first or second pitch to Chourio would pretty much seal it for the Reds here. But Graham Ashcraft would come in again for an inning and a strikeout. Joe, I want you to talk again because I just did for a little bit, but then I have some very serious thoughts on not only the approach that the Reds are having, but I do want to have a conversation overall about, because I think that there are some players on this team that I feel like are working on it, and you could see the results right now. One guy I want to give a quick shout out before I pass it over to you is TJ Friedl. He had an injury-marred season, but it feels like every game he's getting on base somehow. I don't really care. I know that people are worried about his sprint speed. He's still quick enough. He's already stolen a base this year. I think he's tied with Ellie already in terms of stolen bases. He's still tracking the ball, very well. He got on with a bunt hit as well in this series. He's one guy that I'm not too worried about, and I'm pretty happy with overall. But I wanted to throw that over to you with a positive note before you dive into a 3-7 start for the Reds.
Oh God, yeah. He was on my notes to say something good about him as well. He was one that didn't have the greatest start to the season, but really picked it up this last series, and one of the only people that picked it up this series. So, again, felt a little bit like the other series we talked about, the Rangers, where we had one game where all the offensive production was coming, and we just need to find a way to be more consistent. There's the same thing we had an issue with last year with good pitchers. We also had that issue with left-handed pitcher. Nestor Cortez, after having an awful debut against the Yankees and those torpedo bats, came into this game and got the 1-0 win to open things up. I think that kind of set the tone for the series, to be honest, and in a very bad way for the Reds. Not going to overreact to the first 10 games of the season, but this series kind of I felt like it's a good chance to get back on track because the Brewers don't have good starting pitching. We talked about in this preview that they traded Devin Williams to get Nestor Cortez because they felt so poorly about their starting pitching, and they're using openers and relievers.
And he just went on the injured list today as well.
Yeah, he did. And so, it's one of those things where you should be able to take advantage of that, and they didn't do that either. So, first 10 games, whatever, the accountability starts now. We talked about it last year, Rob, you can't start off the season too slow. It's hard to battle back. First 10 games, you're still figuring things out, but now as we head into this next week, there's going to be a lot of players who need to step up because of how poorly they've played. Now, for one, Jake Fraley, awful start to the season. Maybe
Horrible.
one of the worst starts to a season I think I've ever seen a player have. That is because his at bats are not very good. He does have 4 hits now. Got another hit this on Sunday today, so that helps.
Yay.
He's 148 batting average. So he is the second lowest on the team to Spencer Steer, who is injured and just got that home run as well. But he also he's the balls are being pitched right down the middle to him, and he just can't hit them. And you know, I like to reward guys who have good contact, but you can't be a good contact hitter at 148. He also had that error on Saturday where the ball went right under his glove, and guess what? He loafed it to go get that ball. You
Oh, I
cannot.
know.
We have no margin for error as a small market team, and you are loafing to go get the ball. You're not hitting the ball either. It seems like he doesn't want to be here, to be honest. I don't know how he is in the locker room, but things have to. I'm not going to say get rid of him right now. I know we have guys in AAA that we will probably discuss bringing up. I don't know if it's too early to do that, to be honest, but the time is now, man. If you want to be on this team much longer, the time is now to step up. If the hustle's not there, then I don't know what is there for Jake Fraley at this point. So he was one of the people in a bad way. I think we have to point out. A lot of people on social media are mad at him, and I think rightfully so. Just the loafing, just put it over the top. Candy's not playing good defense as well. He's also not hitting the ball extremely well. He's up at 171, so at least a little bit better. There's, I'll put it this way: if you're hitting above 200 for this team, you are doing okay. Which is bad. There are 8 people, obviously limited at bats, hitting above 200. I'm excited to start seeing if we start going with more of these guys who aren't getting playing time or move some of these guys up the order a little bit. So Jacob Hurtubise, 333 batting average. He only has 1 hit at 3 at bats. Let's see if he has something else. We know he's going to hustle, right? So put him in the field. So Jose Trevino, 294 batting average. Can we play him a little bit more instead of using Austin Wynns? Maybe. Can we move him up in the order? Austin Wynns, 222 batting average. It might be time to start using him as a DH, to be honest, because no one else is hitting the ball. And I don't like saying that because I don't think he's the best hitter, although every time he comes up to the Reds, he does okay. So there's a lot of things hitting-wise that bothers me. We're giving guys like Blake Dunn at bats, Jake Fraley at bats, Spencer Steer, again, the injury, so I understand it, but maybe he shouldn't be playing if he's hitting this poorly at 83 batting average, .083. Home run helps. Maybe he gets his power back, maybe gets his confidence. And then pitching-wise, Rob, you kind of mentioned it. I'm very satisfied with Nick Lodolo, Hunter Greene, Brady Singer. Brady Singer specifically, I think, did a good job of managing what was given to him
Yep.
This past game and like just doing enough to get the win, right? Obviously, he had to trust the bullpen a little bit too. We talked about it this offseason with him. The reason why the trade wasn't an A wasn't because of the value. We got good value with Brady Singer, but we gave up a bat in Jonathan India, and now we're seeing we don't have bats, and it's like hard to give up a bat and not have that. So we have a couple injuries, and that's hurting things right now too. But no excuses. Like we just don't have enough depth. We don't have enough star power on offense, and that'll do it. So 3 starters are good. Nick Martinez always seems to start slow. We talked about that last week, so I hope he gets it together. But 5.91 ERA and 2 starts, not good. And then, last but not least, Sam Moll. It's only 3 games played and 2 innings pitched, but again, I'm not ready to send anyone down or get rid of anyone quite yet. I think Jake Fraley's the closest I am to that, and it's like, hey, you better start producing now or you're gone. But Sam Ball is not too far behind. Rob, you mentioned his struggles in spring. I was like, I'm not too worried about it yet. If it shows up in the regular season, then I'll worry about it. Well, it's officially time to worry about it. He has an 18 ERA and does not seem like he's providing much value to us out of the bullpen. So that was as quick as possible I could run down of both hitting and pitching things that are kind of not going right for us. And again, I hope this next week, I know we're going to have a little bit more discussion about this, but I hope this next week we're going to have a chance to play the players who are actually performing well now that we have at least a 10-game sample size, Rob. It's not like it's 1 or 2 at this point. At least play the hot hand, because if no one's hitting, then what do we have?
Yeah, so I want to go through kind of what I saw, and then I want to go through some stats with you, Joe. It's kind of what I'm thinking. They kept talking about it on the broadcast, and I think it's pretty obvious at this point. Like the first series, we got in trouble and because we weren't able to hit the up fastball. So apparently they worked on just doing that. Then we saw in the Verlander game, right, where he was able to carve him up just basically using a curveball. What I'm seeing right now is a team that is not prepared mentally for these at-bats. They were pressing to get a run in. I understand that. But at some point, you have to be a professional and just trust your own approach. And the one person who said he did that was TJ Friedl, and he had 4 hits, right? Like he had a bunch of hits, actually, this series. I think he had the best batting average the entire series. He's almost up to 300 again. Again, limited at bats, but that is what it is. what I'm seeing right now is that teams are pitching every single player away because people like Jake Fraley, players like CES, they are trying to pull the ball so much that they're rolling over everything. Guess who's been hitting the ball to the other field? Gavin Lux, Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, and TJ Friedel. Guess who are our 4 best batters this season? The guys at the very top. They are making adjustments. I understand that it takes time, but you don't have time when... How do I put this? You don't have time when you're expected to be playing above 500 baseball and you're 4 games under to start the season, right? Like, the panic button is still on the table for me. I haven't fully hit it yet. My hand is hovering it, though, very much so, to be honest with you, Joe, because the problem that I'm seeing is that we're losing games and nobody's making adjustments, right? Like, if you are getting dominated by a pitcher, the number one thing that you are taught from like middle school up, see some pitches, make the pitcher work. Some of these games, I mean, we're almost all of our 1-0 games were like 2 hours because we were not making these pitchers work. And not just that, but we're swinging at the same stuff. So, the playbook is out on the Reds. You pitch them away, you pitch them with some breaking stuff, and then you go up with a fastball. And that's it. And teams are pitching us from behind, or, pitching us backwards is what it's called, right? Where you start with the breaking stuff, go hard at the end. And it's consistently getting guys out. And what I'm seeing from like a player specifically like CES, I want to point him out. I'm barely even calling this his sophomore season. He's really not even played, I don't even think 100 games yet in his career. So like, I'm going to give him a little bit more leeway than some of these other guys, but he's almost looking like a name that I think a lot of people are going to be really upset for me for saying, Joe, but Aristides Aquino, where if you groove him a fastball in a good spot, where you even leave a hanging breaking ball, he's going to crush it. He's going to hit it as far as just about anybody else. And I think he's got great hands. But the problem is that these great hands, right, he's not getting in on the fastballs. He's chasing everything. I've seen him have some of probably the 3 worst swings that I've seen on this team so far this season. He had a strikeout on a ball that was 2 feet up from the zone. Then he had another one, I think it was today or yesterday, where the ball was so clearly a ball. It was never in the zone once. And he swung right through it for strike 2. These are the kinds of reasons why it doesn't matter how great of a hitter you are against either bad pitching or, I don't know, any other practice pitching, whatever, right? Any other situation. If you can't make those adjustments and you can't leave the ball off, like they talked about how he walked early in one of these series and how he and Chris Valleca were like, oh my gosh, like this is great. You walked. Like he's going to be more excited about that walk, I think is exactly what Barry Larkin said on the broadcast. That's embarrassing. I mean, that's bad. That to me screams. This man will never see a strike. And he hasn't. He has swung at anything that's close. I mean, there have been 3 balls that almost hit him that he has swung at right now. They have to teach him some patience. Like they have got to start. And this is where I think coaching comes into play, Joe, is helping to change habits and helping them to see things a little bit differently. And what we have seen is that there's no protection now for Ellie. So Ellie is just pressing to try to make something happen. And it's made him a worse batter, to be honest with you. It's pretty obvious to me that is what's happening with him. And these are just things that it's like you think the next at bat, right? First time through the order, you go 0 for 9. That's cool. Generally, you start seeing, the second time and the third time through the order against the same pitcher especially, and you see them making adjustments, things get better. Again, I named 4 people at the start of this rant who have actively made those changes. The rest of the team are not. Even Trevino, he's got a good batting average, but he's still kind of swinging at the same stuff. And I think he's actually had more meatballs than a few other pitchers. I'd have to go look up the stats, but I think he's had a few more too, where I'm like, oh man, like it's great. He's looking good. He's, doing what he needs to. But I don't know if that's going to hold up for him, to be honest with you, based on the plate appearances that I'm seeing with him. So, we're popping the ball up like crazy because we can't get around on the up fastball, and we're rolling over everything. I have never seen a team have more ground balls than this team for the Reds, especially playing in places where you need to get the ball up. My last little bit here is I will say I think a little bit of this is luck as well. There are a few players on this team that should have much higher batting averages, even where they had been stinging the ball and it's just going right at people. I think Friedel was the one that was really due. I think Gavin Lux is still very much due for a couple big hits, to be honest with you. And I think that potentially Ellie as well. I think Ellie might be close to being a 300 hitter if he continues to hit the way that he is this season. He's stinging the ball in a couple times. It's just going two guys, or it's not getting enough carry because it's not the summer yet. So that's my big thing here, Joe. I don't know what else you have on that, but
no, just off of that, no, I don't see many changes from last year. This is kind of the same thing as last year with them. It's like the approaches are awful. It's a different philosophy. Maybe it hasn't taken. Again, a lot of this conversation of maybe these guys are what we thought they were last year. Maybe they aren't what we thought they were 2 years ago is coming in. Like CES had bad at-bats last year, and he's doing the same exact thing this year. It is very frustrating. Candy, we thought he got off to a nice little start the first series. It's lost. He's missing balls. He should not be missing. Jake Fraley, you lost all the bat speed. Maybe it's gone forever, dude. Like maybe you just that's how it is. And you're right. I think the guys who are hitting well are making adjustments. I think they're the ones that we do have faith in more than other ones. That is Friedel, that is Ellie, that is Gavin Lux, that is Matt McLean, that is our guy Santiago Espinal, who 240 batting average, still one of the better ones on the team for
he's
a guy
still been stinging the ball.
Yeah, he's been doing well. So that to me is the frustrating part. Is the thing is, like, I don't think coaching is to blame 10 games into a season because it takes a while for that to come in and for them to see things different, spring training, new coaching staff, all that stuff. It might, at this point, two different coaching staffs, it might be the players, and that makes a larger conversation about the front office that we've had several times on the podcast, Rob. But also, it's like, hey, you have to go be aggressive to go find these type of players who are going to play baseball the right way because it is very frustrating to see guys strike out looking. Specifically this year has happened a couple times. It's extremely frustrating to see guys not sit back and wait for their pitch and just be ready to swing right away. Ellie's gotten a weird number of first pitch fastballs, but I don't think a lot of other people have gotten them. Like by comparison, Ellie never sees a first pitch fastball. I've seen a couple this year where it's like crazy that he is not on top of it either. But that is what I'll say is I think this is more of an indictment about the players themselves. And you're right. I think I said this last year, Rob. Coaching can do so much. But at a certain point, you have to go up there and be the guy in the box, and you have to be the guy who says, this is a ball, I'm not swinging at it. This is a strike, I am swinging at it. Oh, that's a strike, I'm going to take that pitch because it's not in a spot where I can drive it anywhere. I'm going to take this pitch because this guy has thrown 5 pitches this inning, and I'm the third batter up, and we have 2 outs already. And it seems like there is no adjustments to make the betterment of the team or the players themselves, and that's what the frustrating part is. Again, 10 games into the season, small sample size. It is very much like, hey, I'm open to this being improved next week just by continuing to play and have things change a little bit. But also, if this is a team who you want to win, which it seems like we do with Terry Francona being the manager and coming back out of retirement for this, it is now time. Like, we don't have to win every game this week. We could go 500 this week, whatever. But if you don't have better at-bats, if you don't have better batting averages as a whole, then we really need to think about different changes. And again, I said it earlier, injuries are happening. We are a small market team. I get it. The sickness that went around, the Matt McLean injury, there is a lot to be like, hey, this team can do better, like Austin Hayes coming back. But you start thinking about it, Spencer Steer's already hurt. Then you have to worry about Austin Hayes coming back, Tyler Stevenson coming back, them getting into a groove, McLean coming back, them getting into a groove. If someone else if Steer has a setback, if someone else has a setback, then you're just shuffling guys in and out again. And again, that's just where that lack of depth comes in because, right now the only outfielder worth playing too much is TJ Friedel, and then we're moving guys into the outfield. Like Gavin Lux too, but like we're moving guys into the outfield that aren't necessarily outfielders. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if some other guys come up and make impacts from AAA. But again, it is a 10-game sample size, so trying not to like say, hey, this guy needs to be up, this guy needs to be down quite yet. But all knowing these games are very important, and we would at least like to see better approaches at the plate to start things.
I'm going to add on to that last point, and then I'm going to talk about the overall stats and kind of just a reminder to everybody about the record. If I watched them swing at another curveball or some other crappy pitch inside and then take a fastball down the middle, I think I might put my head through a wall. That's the one that I can't accept. I just can't. Like, yeah, you get beat on a pitch, fine. We have watched Ellie, even Matt McClain, like the amount of times that I'm sure that my fiance has heard me yell, "You just watched a fastball down the middle. Why?" Like on an 0-1 count or a 1-1 count or a 2-1 count. It's like, dude, I understand that fastball down the middle doesn't always mean that it's going to get crushed. But like, you're not, like, especially when pitchers are on, which I will give the Reds credit. A lot of these guys are hitting their spots that they are facing. A lot of them. Like, truly the ones who are not hitting their spots, they are rocking. Not many of these pitchers have been leaving pitches for them that I'm like, oh, they should be crushing those pitches. But, oh, they should be crushing those pitches. Like, you can't watch a 93-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle. You just can't. And against a lefty that's throwing 90, I understand it might be a little tough to pick up on him. But for God's sakes, then just lay off the fastball, sit on a breaking ball, and wait for it to come into the zone. You know it's going to. I mean, these are basic things that I am struggling to understand. And there's a lot to think about when you're a batter up there. I really think part of it, Joe, is anxiety. I think it's just still freshness for a lot of these guys. And I think it's just like, all right, let's just take a collective deep breath and just play the game, right? Like, CES has hit at every single level. Every level. He has. He needs to just relax. Like, he of all of them feels like he looks like me up there. I was so anxious to hit. I hit okay in high school, but like I was like in my head constantly. Like, you have to learn as a professional athlete by that time to kind of just calm your brain down. He needs to actually stop thinking, I think, and just hit. He's one of those guys that I know it sounds weird, but that's what I would do with him. But there are a couple guys that, like, I'm done with Fraley. I'm honestly about done with Jeimer Candelario. I know he's had a few hits, but dude, every single ball off his bat looks like a weakly hit ball. I just can't keep seeing that, to be honest with you. Like, they're paying him way too much money for him to be putting such horrible swings on the ball, to be honest with you. And I know he has hits. It almost feels like he's the luckiest player that I've ever seen. Like, I don't understand how he hits. His swing just always feels long. It never feels like he's using his hands. I don't know. I struggle pretty immensely with him. He might be my Emilio Pagan this season. Pagan has been swinging well, so
because Pagan can't be your Emilio Pagan.
He can't be.
So
yeah, he's doing a great job. It's pissing me off. Actually, I'm great. I'm very happy that he's doing well. But I wanted to point out a couple. Oh, sorry, you jump in. Yeah, now I'll point out a couple stats.
One more note. Everyone should make sure they follow Rob on Twitter because he is the epitome of a fan, and he is like, it's a roller coaster ride. Like, the Reds will have a roller coaster, and he will go on that roller coaster with you. I'm more like to sit back and kind of analyze it and maybe, well, this is what I kind of expected. Rob is like, no, this team needs to win, and screw these guys. I can't believe they're doing this stuff, and it is a lot of fun to watch. You're welcome. Some of the bright spots that I've had this season for the Reds is watching Rob tweet and just imagining how his fiance and some of his friends that are hanging out with him at times are reacting to what he is saying, even though he is right in saying some of those things. I'm sure it's just not a pleasant time. It's a pleasant time for me, and I'm sure for you too, but they're just like, what is wrong with this guy?
Oh, dude, it's just, what's really frustrating to me is, like, if I am not, like, some great baseball mind, right? That's why I'm not coaching at the big league level. But when it's just basic things that are just so screamingly obvious to me, I just can't handle it. Like, dude, like, when I used to coach high school, if I saw one of my kids, we're struggling to hit, and he takes a 1-0 fastball down the middle, you bet your ass that I am like, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? Like, are you not thinking? It's to me, I think the hardest part is that I want them to win so badly, and I can see the things they need to change. And it's like, if I can see them, I know that they can see them, right? And I know that Chris Valleca can see them. Like, I'm not in the full-on camp that you are, where it's like maybe some of these guys are just what they are. I think some of them, they're still very young. Like, we are talking about the majority of these players don't even have 2 full seasons of baseball under their belt, right? Like, they just don't. And baseball is, in my opinion, the hardest game of, especially at least the 4 major sports. Like, in terms of, it's a skill game, and it's very difficult. Hitting a round ball with a round bat is very hard, right? But there are just some basic things that I'm struggling to understand why they can't grasp it, and that's where I lose my mind. Is it's just Jake Fraley, keep your head down, dude. Keep your head down and go through the ball. Blake Dunn dove for the ball because he knew he had backup, right? He saw that Gavin Lux was right there. Makes sense. Jake, bro, you are on an island. You do not have that ability. Just keep the ball in front of you. It's just like they're human. I understand they're going to make mistakes, but dude, it's when you have it over and over and over again that I just start to really lose my mind. I can't handle it, man. It's tough, but I do want to say, despite my complaining right now, there are a lot of teams that are going to go 3-7 in a 10-game span, especially against two of literally the best teams in baseball. All right, I'm going to give them that. The Reds, I'm looking at some stats here, Joe. The Reds have the second best whip in all of baseball with a 1.02. The batting average against is also, I believe, the second best. No, sorry, it's fifth. There are a couple teams that have it a little bit better right now. They are pitching well. They're not giving up many runs. They are striking out a decent number of people. They're not really walking anybody. Pitching's great. Hitting-wise, funny enough, I don't know if you knew this, Joe, but there are 5 teams that actually have worse batting averages than the Cincinnati Reds.
Yep.
The Minnesota Twins, the New York Mets, and didn't they just sign that guy for like $1 billion? The Pittsburgh Pirates, a team we'll talk about this week. The Atlanta Braves, who have just been awful. And the Texas Rangers, who are one of the best teams in baseball because their pitching has been so good. If we're going to lose 1-0 against a team, that's 8-2 or whatever, that's fine. If their pitching is going to be what's going to carry them this season, good for them. I don't know that it will be, but at least we're seeing that. And again, there will be times where they will go 3-7. There will be times where the Reds are going to go 7-3 on a consistent basis, right? I really do believe that. And we're going to talk here in just a second, Joe. We got our complaining out about the games now. We're going to hop into, I think, I didn't even do the question of the day, guys, because I think Joe and I needed to vent a little bit to you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But we're going to go look at some injuries as well. We have updates, and I think that this may allow us to breathe a little bit more, Joe. So Tyler Stevenson is getting another MRI on, I believe it's tomorrow, actually, on Monday. So we will know more. All signs indicate that he should be back actually during the Pirates series is what it has sounded like. As long as everything is good to go there, they expect him to go full bore baseball activities, I believe starting tomorrow or Tuesday. I don't know if they're going to send him down to do some rehabbing or not. I really have no idea. We'll have to see if they put him on an assignment or not, but he's technically available to come back during the Pirates series. Whether or not he will, I don't know. Spencer Steer, actually, I will say, today looked the best that he has looked all year in terms of it looked like he was finally catching up to the ball. His home run looked like his old self, and it was on an up and in pitch. I can't remember if it was a fastball or not, but he got around on it and smoked that ball, honestly, so that's a good sign. I'll give Larkin some credit. He kept saying that he just needs time to kind of see the balls again, and he'll be okay. Again, he looked great. He walked twice, I want to say, and had a home run, so good for him. Alexis Diaz is going to pitch Wednesday and Thursday, and Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday. And as long as everything goes well, he'll be back with the club here soon as well. Andrew Abbott is expected to pitch on, I believe it's Friday against the Pirates. The next time Carson Spires is supposed to be up, so they expect him to be back. Not really had much news on Rhett Lauder. Matt McLain is still day to day. I don't really, hamstring tightness is not a strain, so that is good. They're probably trying to keep it from being a strain. And then Austin Hayes is hazy, and I don't mean that in a punny way, Joe. They make it sound like he's like doing baseball activities. He was apparently in Cincinnati today working on stuff, so he's eligible, I believe, to come off the DL this weekend against the Pirates as well. So the Reds could be getting a whole host of players back. My realistic expectation is that we get Andrew Abbott back and one of Tyler Stevenson or Austin Hayes over the weekend, depending on which one's either more ready or if they feel like they need some games down there in AAA, they'll send them down this week, the next couple of days. But the reinforcements are coming. We will not have to probably watch Jake Fraley out in right field every game much longer, to be honest with you, Joe. But what are your thoughts on injuries? I'm getting worried with McLean and with Stevenson, to be honest with you. And even Hayes. I mean, these guys, like, I know it happens in bunches for guys. It's happened like that for 100+ years in baseball. But it is, God bless him. He's trying to go out there, Joe, and hit. Like, he came in that game where they just needed one run, and he almost actually took the guy out to straightaway center in that pinch hit appearance. So he's clearly able to hit. They're just worried about him running. It can nag, but they didn't put him on the IL for a reason. They must think he's going to be able to come back soon. I don't know, man. These injuries are weird to me. They're all soft tissue, too, which is what's driving me nuts. It's like, just stretch a little better. Guys are stretching a little less. Which one do you need right now?
Yeah, I think it's definitely soft tissue injuries. You just never exactly know what that's going to be like. So, up in the air, McLean is a big picture worry. I don't think I'm worried about the next couple of days, but it's just the same thing. Like, dude gets hurt. There's always something with this guy. And there's going to be a point where I think he either is he's always injured, or he's got things on track and he's not. And this is just a minor injury. I think he'll be fine for this season, but it is definitely in the back of your mind of like, hey man, we offered this guy a contract extension before the season started. And maybe we're trying to get good value, which is what we talked about wanting to do. But also, now you have to think about, if you're the Reds, what's the number you're going to give this guy because of this, big picture-wise? And I think it's fair to start wondering if he's going to be a guy who has a lot of injuries in his career, or if he's a guy who's going to go out there and play through it or play every day. And I know a lot of it's the managing and the coaching staff and the front office maybe not letting him play too. That is the big picture thing for me. For the other guys, I think it is a little bit weird. I'm a little bit worried about Stevenson, catching oblique. I don't like that. Hayes has been a little bit, I would say, more up in the air than I thought it'd be at this point. Yeah. I thought that they'd be like on a track to be back. I would say we should be fine. Like next week, I think we'll probably be thinking, we at least know when these guys are coming back, or like they are back and starting to play. But that was the big takeaway for me, is just like, we're getting excited about McLean's start to the season, and obviously he tails off a little bit there at the end before he starts getting injured with the hamstring. But it's more just like, hey man, this is another year where it's happening, and like this injury's, fine, we'll get through it, but is there going to be another one? And like some of it you can't help, but a lot of it, I don't know. It just seems like this guy's just an injured player. We've had plenty of those in the past for the Reds fans. We don't want any more. Yeah,
and it's sad because I know he's frustrated. I mean, they keep showing him in the dugout, and you can tell. I mean, he is devastated. He wants to be out there, and this team is better with him. Like, not just like him individually, but he gives that protection to Ellie, right? I think in a very significant way. I'm almost at the point where I'd actually like for them to change spots in the lineup, Joe. I would almost be better having Matt McLean at 3. I know that's a very small change, but I think it would be a significant one to allow Ellie to get on base more. Maybe have less RBI chances, but get on base more and let McLean kind of hit him in. But they're both striking out at about the same rate, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm really hoping we get some troops back. It sounds, all indications are that we're getting at least 2 or 3 players back when we head into the Pirates series, which I'm actually heading to a game this weekend. I'm heading to the LA bobblehead game. So
nice. Very
very excited about that. Hopefully that I will get one. But that's it for injury news, Joe. Let's head into, well, we've had our honest discussion about the team. Let's head into the bats here. I want to talk real quickly about the Louisville bats. So far this season, just to give everybody an update, Rhys Hines has 3 home runs, but those are half his hits. He's 6 for 30. He's batting 200, 12 strikeouts, 4 stolen bases. I mean, if he could ever find a way to just even bring down the power a little bit, focus on contact, he might be a big league hitter. Right now, he might just be a quadruple A guy that can really hit for power, is the way it's looking like to me. The guys that we got to talk about real quick here, Joe, though, are Will Benson and Tyler Callahan. Both. Tyler Callahan is a prospect, and probably Noelvi Marte as well. Sorry, forgot about him. But Will Benson, 14 hits in his first 41 at-bats. He does have 11 strikeouts, which is pretty much on par with everybody else right now, it seems like. I think 4 players on the Reds have like 10 or 11. But he's got 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, a triple, 2 doubles. He does have a walk so far. He's batting .341. His OPS is .942. Tyler Callahan, 11 hits in his 34 at-bats, 2 doubles, 2 home runs. 10 strikeouts to 6 walks, though, which is good. He's not a .984 OPS as well. And then the last one's Novi Marte, which I'm going to be honest, I'm a little surprised by, but this is a pleasant surprise. 6 doubles on 12 hits, 5 RBIs, 4 walks to 6 strikeouts, and 3 stolen bases. His OPS is 954. I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. I'm almost, like, I want to see them probably hit for one more week, but I'm almost ready to say call him up at this point. I think Will Benson, if he does not get called up soon, I'm going to be honest with you, they just need to trade him, because then it just feels like it's for sure that Terry Francona just doesn't think that this guy has it. We saw, that apparently they had some bad blood in Cleveland. It kind of carried over because he got sent down before a lot of other people to the AAA team, and I think he took that personally, Joe. He is hitting the crap out of the ball right now. He looks very confident. He looks very comfortable. I would like to see him walk a little bit more. He never really, he was patient from what I could remember last year, to be honest with you. He might just be trying to hit the crap out of the ball and hit his way onto the team. They're going to have to call him up at some point, because if I have to watch Jake Fraley play over this guy, not only is Will Benson a better outfielder, he's faster, and he has more potential, I think, to be a better player. I understand that he might hit 210, but I'd rather him hit 210 than Jake Fraley hit 210, because I know at least a few of his are going to go out, whereas I don't think Jake Fraley's going to hit more than 5 home runs this year with the way that his bat is unfortunately slowed down. And then Noelvi Marte is going to really, really push for some time. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know if they're going to start giving him some outfield time or something. But I really thought, he had an awful spring too. I was really sure that his goose was cooked, Joe. But it does not seem to be the case whatsoever. He seems to be actually hitting fairly well. I have not seen anything in terms of defense for them, Joe. But if his defense is figuring it out, he just needed time to kind of go down there and find his head again. That would be great for the Reds. That'd be a great problem to have.
Yeah, you're right. It's good to mention these guys. I'm with you. I think I need about another week, 10 days-ish to figure out if these guys are worth bringing up. It is easy to sit here right now with bad offense and be like, yeah, let's bring them up. But then you also talk about burning options. If you bring 10 guys down, and then if they don't work out, sending those guys down again would be burning another option. So that is all part of the consideration. Those guys have put themselves in position, I think, to be like, we're 10 games into the season, but you're putting yourself in position to be like, all right, I'm going to try to be the next guy called up. And that's really good to have. But you just don't want to call guys up too soon. Like, I would hate to call Will Benson or Marte up and possibly, sit them, not have them see the ball. Make sure they're seeing the ball well. I know there's spots in the outfield we can definitely get some at-bats for Benson. You're right, Marte's a little bit different, but just need a little bit bigger sample size of them seeing the ball, hitting the ball. And I think all of those guys, even Reese Hines, like, we don't have any power off the bench. So, like, if it's a bench guy, and he showed last year he could kind of provide a little bit of a spark, there is definitely a future here. Something to, like, right now, good to know. It's good to keep track of for this next week. If things keep on going south or we have some injuries, those guys will certainly be up. And the way the injury luck's looking, that's probably going to happen. But also, the way the hitting is looking right now, we go a couple more days, I'd say the end of this week, where we come back for that homestand against the Pirates, and we're sitting there and we're still not hitting the ball against the Pirates, and I think probably make a move.
Oh, without a doubt. Marte has 1 error. He's been playing third and short, and Will Benson has none, by the way. He does have 2 outfield assists as well. So, none. He's had 2 in his career. None right now, but that's okay. He's a good enough player to where I think he can, if he gets his head on straight and he can figure it out. Like, again, we talked about this at the beginning of the season with him, Joe. If you remember, he went down in 2023 to start the season too, after a horrible start, and then he came back and just blew the ball apart. After doing kind of almost exactly what he's doing right now, which is funny. Talk about one of the most pleasant surprises that we could possibly ask for. And I'm actually wrong. He actually only hit 206 before the Reds called him back up. So he's actually almost matched his total in home runs and RBIs and hits in 20 less games than he did in 2023. So I don't know, man. Bill Benson, as I like to call him with my dad. He may be making his way back up to this squad. Because, again, if I have to watch Hurtaby's done and Jake Fraley out there over a guy who I know has at least hit MLB pitching in the past any longer, then I'm going to definitely think that Terry's just got something out for Will Benson at that point. So, which would be disappointing because I don't like that. You just got to play the guys you got to play, in my opinion. But let's talk about the games this week, Joe.
Yeah.
All right. So the Reds will be heading to. They should already hopefully be in San Francisco at this point. We have two late night games, Joe. 9:45 games on Monday and Tuesday, and then a Wednesday game at 3:45 in the afternoon before they get a day off, and we hit the Pirates at home for 3 games. We've already seen the Giants this season, Joe. Wilmer Flores is weird. He's got 4 home runs and a walk-off so far this year. 12 RBIs, 273. Heliot Ramos is hitting well as well. Luis Matos as well, and Mike Yastrzemski. They've got 5 pretty solid hitters so far. Willie Adames is going to pick it up at some point. He hasn't really done much. 6. Jung-Ho Lee also has been hitting very, very well. He is a doubles machine right now. Pitching-wise, I think you said it either on this or right before we came back, but they are going to have their top guys going against us again. So we'll see, I believe, Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, and Justin Verlander in this set, which will be unfortunate, but we will counter with our top 3 as well. We will have Hunter Greene, Nick Lodolo, and Nick Martinez all going this week as well. In this series, I should say, specifically, they have not been necessarily high in terms of strikeouts so far this season. They have been pretty pitch efficient is what I would call it. They've been getting deep into games, especially Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. But and Verlander got roughed up in his last start as well, Joe, which is worth noting. So we'll have to see how things go here. But I know that we are down and this Giants team is up, Joe. But this feels like a perfect opportunity. They're coming off of a great series, against the Mariners this past weekend, where I believe they were able to sweep. They were. They are on a 7-game winning streak, I believe, as well. They've been playing very well this year so far, to say the least. And it feels like they might be due, and the Reds might be doing the opposite way. But I'll let you make your prediction first, Joe. What are you feeling? What are you seeing for the Reds? How can we take advantage of the team that we just faced a week ago?
Yeah, I don't know how the rotation got messed up, but we actually, instead of Robbie Ray, we get Landon Roop in the second game, is what the projected starter is. Robbie Ray pitched 2 days ago, I think.
Okay.
So that's at least something
for the Reds.
Better for us. Yeah, this is a team that is hitting way above their potential, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I don't think all these guys are that great of hitters, and that's power to them for getting off to such a good start. Partially, maybe the Reds helping them get off to that good start is a factor, but they're playing really well right now. For me, this is, again, just a team that I think is probably going to end up being pretty average. The good fast start is great, but I don't think they have the great starting pitching at the top. Counting on guys like Robbie Ray and counting on Justin Verlander. We'll see how that goes after some injuries and then Verlander being old. I'm going to go 1-2 in the series. They are still like a solid team. We still haven't shown we can beat solid teams all that much this year, and we haven't also shown we can beat very good starting pitchers. We're going to be facing Webb and Verlander in this series, and then Roop. So maybe we beat Roop, and then the other 2 we lose. It's hard for me to sit here and project wins when we seemingly have one good game of offense per series. I would like to think that they can get some wins in this one, but I'll say 1-2. I'm going to be conservative with this one.
I want to be conservative, but at the same time, I want to be positive. I'm going to call 2-1, though, Joe. I think our guys can go toe-to-toe with them. I think that, that game against Roop with Lodolo, I think, is our best shot. I meant to come back to him, by the way. Quick talk about Lodolo. He doesn't even have his best stuff, and he has been outstanding so far this season. If he stays healthy, the 1-2 punch of Hunter Greene and Lodolo might be one of the best ones in baseball, to be honest with you. And I know there are a lot of great ones out there. Do not get me wrong. The Dodgers obviously have a fantastic one. That's the first one that pops off the top of my head. But I will be honest with you, Joe. I think Hunter Greene can outdo a Webb, kind of like he did basically on opening day. I think Lodolo beats Roop, and then I think it really comes down to whether or not Verlander is going to be his second game self or his first game self. This is all going to come down to, in my opinion, whether or not they actually learn from their last time facing this team, right? Can they make those adjustments from what they saw? Because, if I'm the Giants, I'm going to play the Reds the same way that I did the first time. Yeah, you basically could have walked out of there with 3 wins. They didn't, but that's okay, right? The Reds could have gone 2-1 in that series as well if, Jabot doesn't have his, one bad outing so far of the season, right? I really do believe that this Reds team ultimately can be better, and I know it sounds stupid considering they have 5 more wins than the Reds right now, but I do think that they can be better, and I think that you got to find a time to start it. Why not start it on your first short West Coast trip of the year? Let's see them go 2-1, and hopefully they can, start getting back to some consistent winning baseball. 5-8 heading into a weekend series against the Pirates feels really good, in my mind, Joe.
Definitely, I hope you're right.
Yeah, me too. So let's head in here to the Pirates. The Pirates will be coming to Great American Ballpark for a 3-game series against our beloved Reds. I don't believe they have projections yet. No, it's just all going to be night games with a day game on Sunday, as they are. Ellie bobblehead night on the 12th. The 2 bottom teams in the NL Central right now. Although I think, again, one is better than the other. So far, the Pirates have been getting some good hitting from a couple guys, but that's really about it. O'Neal Cruz has 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. He is walking at a pretty high rate, though, and he's got 7 stolen bases, so obviously a huge threat. We already knew that. Brian Hayes has actually had a much better start than he did last season. He was batting near the bottom of the lineup. I believe I saw him leading off against the Yankees this weekend, so he's got 9 hits, double, triple, and a home run. He's only struck out 4 times. And then Andrew McCutchen, one I know your favorite non-Reds, interdivision rival players. He's got 6 hits. He had his first home run in the last week of the season as well. But they have struggled mightily otherwise. Brian Reynolds, they're really their star. He has 15 strikeouts this year so far at 44 at-bats. Joey Bart, 11 strikeouts. Tommy Pham is batting 100. He was supposed to be one of their big offseason acquisitions, quote unquote. Jack Suwinski continues to get at bats. I don't understand why. He has not hit very well this season either. Their pitching outside of Paul Skeens has been okay. Andrew Haney has been good. Paul Skeens has looked great. And then some of their bullpen guys, Justin Lawrence and Joey Wentz, have looked solid. The rest, and Caleb Ferguson, sorry, another name there. The rest of the team looks bad. Their closer, David Bednar, his days are over, I believe, as a Pirate. He goes from being one of the best closers in baseball, somebody everybody wanted, to he is not even on the team anymore. Colin Holderman as well is heading towards that. Their team's kind of in flux, Joe, in a big way. They're finding ways to win here and there. O'Neal Cruz is doing a good job. Brian Hayes, Andrew McCutchen, like we said, and Paul Skeens. I don't know if we're going to run into him this weekend, but if we don't run into him, feels like it could be a good weekend for the Reds.
Yeah, we're not projected to run into him or Mitch Keller, which is good, even though Mitch Keller struggled to start the year. He's obviously has a good history. Mm-hmm. But we are in line to face 2 lefties, Bailey Falter and Andrew Haney. That's going to be rough for us. Yeah, those 2 guys could be rough. I'm going to say 2-1 in this series, Rob. The Pirates kind of stink. And they kind of reported that, hey, what are you doing to build around this team? They had a lot of hey, this is how much you're bringing in. This is how much you're spending. Last week, a report in baseball that came out, and they were one of the worst teams in the league. Paul Skeens is nice. We obviously avoid him, but there's like last week I said with the Rangers, avoid the big bats, and we were unable to do that a lot of the time. And for the Brewers, it was like, hey, stop rallies. We were unable to stop rallies. So there was a lot of, hey, here's a hit, here's a hit, here's a hit. With the Pirates, I don't really have many fears. This lineup is not very good. There's some guys that like have potential in a way that maybe seems a little bit too similar to the Reds in a way, but they're not necessarily playing up to their potential. And love Andrew McCutchen and everything. He's way past his prime. Um, I think the Reds can get it done with good pitching. I'm worried about the offense again just because of those lefties, but I mean, this is a team that I think ranks 26th in batting average right now, and I don't see. I can keep the ball in the ballpark, make them hit for average, and you'll be fine because they can't hit for average very well at all. So I'll say 2-1 despite facing two lefties in the series.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to pitch around O'Neal Cruz. I think that's the big one there. And then I think Andrew Haney's the one I'm scared of. The Reds have a good history against Bailey Falter, and he has been awful this season. He's got an 8 ERA, 10 innings pitched, 9 earned runs, 2 home runs given up. He's got a 150 whip and a 341 batting average against. That's the kind of lefty you want to face. The hope is as well is that we're getting guys back. Normally we'd be having a Carson Spires game, but Joe, we're going to have Brady Singer, Andrew Abbott most likely, and Hunter Greene going in this series. So if the bullpen can kind of hold it down, the Reds have an opportunity to sweep this weekend. And if they were able to do what I was talking about and they can go, 5-1 over the weekend, you're 8-8 all of a sudden again, and everybody's happy. So I'm not going to predict that, though. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. I think the Pirates will find a way to squeak one out. But they are not a very good team, like you said. They really don't have a lot of guys with potential either. You keep the ball in the ballpark, like you said. And if the hitting can come around to even just, I think I said it last week, score 4 runs a game, and I think this team's going to win a lot of games. I think if we can find a way to, get our way to 7-9 by the end of the week, Joe, I don't think anybody's going to be hitting that panic button anymore because that guys like Austin Hayes are going to come back. That, Tyler Stevenson is going to be making his way back onto this team. Spencer Steer is just going to continue to probably heat up, hopefully. Matt McLean will hopefully come back this week as well. So if you can get your full starting lineup and you have those guys going as your starting pitchers, all respect in the world to Carson Spires for holding it down for us, Joe, but this team could win. They could actually win some games this week. So, excuse me, try not to get too far ahead of myself, but that's what I'm hoping. So, any last words of wisdom for us before we finish this day out?
Yeah, the Pirates series I think is going to be crucial. After that, we have the Mariners who are 3-7 and playing very bad baseball. But the Orioles after that on the road's tough. But after the series after that, at the Marlins, at the Rockies, the Marlins are 5-4 right now. The Rockies are one of the worst teams in baseball. So Marlins are not as good as the record says they is. If you can kind of for these next 2 or 3 series, kind of tread water, maybe push a little bit closer to 500, and then get to those 2 series where the Marlins and Rockies both on the road. But if you can go 5-1 or 6-0 in that series, that can really turn the tide of things. We mentioned McLean's extension; that was on my list. Ellie started off with the torpedo bat, so it's gonna be fun for baseball fans to kind of track torpedo bats throughout the rest of the season. Congratulations to Hunter Greene being the fastest Reds pitcher to 500 strikeouts.
Yep.
And then we are playing the Pirates this week. I think they might be cursed, Rob. I don't know if you saw the news. They had an ad go up over Roberto Clemente's spot on the right field wall. And they're getting shamed for it endlessly. So let's hope that they are going to be cursed and we can get 3 wins against them. That is something that, Roberto Clemente, obviously a legend for what he did on the field, but also off the field. And that's kind of a weird move to cover up something honoring him with an ad. So that is maybe the baseball gods are looking down on that and saying, hey, Reds, we're going to get a sweep this week.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard not to look too far ahead, but it's like if you can just survive this Giants series, survive the Orioles series, it's a much easier rest of the month. You get the Pirates, the Mariners, the Marlins, the Rockies, and the Cardinals. Those are all very winnable series. So, especially if the Reds can find a way to go 5-1 this weekend or this week, Joe, I think they're in a great spot at that point, to be honest with you, because the Mariners can't hit worth a dime. That series may be, if you're asking for betting advice, by the way, next week, Mariners series at home for the Reds, bet the under every single game because I don't know if either of these teams are going to score more than 5 runs combined in a series, or in a game. But it's like they just got to survive, Joe, and I think they're going to be in a good spot for the rest of this. We'll have to see. Hopefully, May is not nearly as tough as it was in the past. Again, you're looking ahead. You got the Nationals, the Braves. The Astros haven't been that great. The White Sox are still not great. The Guardians haven't looked great. You got the Pirates again. Then you got the Cubs, Royals, Cubs. So it's like tread water, like you said this week. Get the reinforcements back, and you have a month and a half of baseball that is very, very, very winnable. The Reds could get to the end of May and be 10 games over 500, and I wouldn't be surprised considering how bad some of these teams have been. So just kind of hold on. Let's see what happens. Maybe 10 is too much, but you know what I mean. Pretty significantly up. So we will have to see, but that is going to wrap it up for us on this one. Sorry, guys, it was a little longer, but, hey, we had that first week of baseball that we had to kind of complain about and figure our way out through. There's still a very long season, 152 games still left, Joe. That's quite a bit, to say the least. So we're only 1/16 of the way through the season, guys. So let's hope the rest of the 15 of the last 15 series or parts of the season are going to be great. So that will wrap it up for us, like I said. So we'll catch you guys on the next one.